what we've learned over the last 4 hours. So we are hearing from CMPD that this was a situation in East Charlotte, Galloway Drive, where U.S. Marshals, the task force, it sounded like it was a fugitive task force, was trying to, okay, we are just getting a really sad update. NBC News has confirmed that the U.S. Marshal has passed away. So
we were told that that person was in surgery earlier today, whether it was Novant or Atrium, but they were fighting for their life.
Of course, very upsetting news here. Certainly not an update we wanted to have to share with you. So this is how we see the situation at this hour. So 4 law enforcement officers were shot at by the suspect, wounded, and unfortunately we have just now learned the U.S. Marshal did not survive the surgery. We're told he was in surgery fighting for his life. We are unaware of the condition of the 3 other officers. We do know via 2 law enforcement officials who confirmed the initial injury reports to NBC News that these 3 officers were they were with local agencies, so they were assisting with this task force. So, okay, we're being directed to some more information.
But again, this happened in the 1 o'clock hour, around 1:30, where the U.S. Marshal Task Force was serving a warrant on that house, on a residence on Galloway Drive, when they were fired upon.
Here's the statement from U.S. Marshals we're getting at this hour. U.S. Marshals Service confirms that one deputy U.S. Marshal has been shot and killed during a fugitive warrant operation in Charlotte. Several other Marshals Service Task Force members and local officers were also shot and wounded. They cannot confirm the number of officers wounded or their condition. So once again, this is a statement from U.S. Marshals. They're referring us to Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police, which of course we're still waiting to hear from. The matter is active and ongoing. They are not sharing the name of the deputy because they need to notify the next of kin, his family.
It's news. You hope that's not going to happen. The word, and the condition of the person, the U.S. Marshal, who we knew went to surgery and was fighting for their life. But when you actually hear that it is confirmed that he did not make it, it's beyond tragic. It's just so sad to hear. We are waiting for CMPD to give us the details on their press conference they say is going to be happening at any moment, hopefully in the next 5 minutes.
Yes, it's imminent. We're hearing. So we are standing by with our crews around the area. I mean, you mentioned this, Jane. This is the update that nobody wanted to hear. We heard from so many elected officials, people in the community, neighbors saying that they were praying for these law enforcement officers, that they would have the most positive outcome. So I know this is not just shattering for the law enforcement community, but also for the Charlotte community overall.
Absolutely. Trying to serve a warrant and just trying to do their job in the name of justice and on the right side of the law. And we had to confirm that that person had passed away. The deceased gunman, at least one suspect, also found deceased earlier this afternoon. That was confirmed by CMPD, and they know that we know that they are still having to talk to 2 occupants of the home, wrapping up this investigation, and that they will be there on scene into the foreseeable future. The rest of the day, I would imagine.
That's right. I mean, we had heard from Quentin Williams, who we frequently speak with to weigh in on law enforcement matters. He's a former FBI agent, so he has a lot of knowledge about just how the situation might unfold. He talked about how they might do this investigation, of course, being most concerned overall with the medical condition and the conditions and the safety of the law enforcement officers who were injured in this. We're actually seeing right now, looks like the police chief.
Yep.
I see the mayor out there. It's hard to make out some of this shot here. I believe I see the district attorney for Mecklenburg County, Spencer Merriweather, on scene. So.
Okay, and Mayor Vi Lyles, and we're seeing FBI as well as, it looks like it's a multi-agency gathering here, showing of unity. Mayor's looks like she is visibly upset and emotional.
That's right. So we'll wait to see if this press conference is starting. We were told 5:40, so the update should be imminent. Let's listen in here.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kevin Petrus, with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I appreciate your patience this afternoon. We have worked through the situation that we've been dealing with today. There's no doubt that our Charlotte community has experienced a tragedy today. And it's one, as a law enforcement community, we always do possible, we never expect, never get easier. We do our best to answer questions today, to provide details, to be transparent about the events of this afternoon. But I do want you to understand that we're dealing with a tragic loss of life today. And that loss of life is very fresh. The details that we do not know, the questions that we frankly just aren't going to be able to answer. We will take your questions, but first, the Chief of Police for the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, Johnny Jennings, is going to come and give you some information and share his thoughts. I'll spell that for you. Johnny is Johnnny. Last name is Jennings, Jennings. After Chief Jennings, the mayor of the city of Charlotte, Vi Lyles, is going to come and share her thoughts. Vi, V-I, Lyles, L-Y-L-E-S. Chief.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Today's an absolute tragic day for the city of Charlotte and for the profession of law enforcement. Today we lost some heroes that are out to just simply trying to keep our community safe. I'm going to try to go through a series of events of how this all occurred and played out, and then tell you a little bit more about the injuries and the things that we had to endure today as a profession and as a city. So about 1:30 p.m. this afternoon, the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force went to the 5000 block of Galloway Avenue in attempt to serve a warrant on an individual for possession of firearm by a convicted felon. When they approached that individual, they were met with gunfire. Officers returned gunfire and struck the victim, who was later pronounced deceased in the front yard of the residence. As officers approached that individual, they then received additional gunfire from inside of the residence. So after a long standoff, we were able to clear this residence and confirm that there were 2 additional people inside. They were both brought to the police station as persons of interest, and we're trying to determine now what exactly occurred inside of the residence. Tragically, there were 3 members of the U.S. Marshals Task Force who were pronounced deceased, and there were 4 CMPD officers who were shot, one being in critical condition who is now in the hospital fighting for his life. A total of 8 law enforcement officers were shot by the suspects in this house. So we are very early in the investigation. CMPD will lead this investigation. We still have a lot to uncover, a lot of questions that are not answered right now. So please respect the fact that I won't be able to answer some of the questions that you're going to have, but at the same time, we are going to diligently work on this to ensure that we bring a respect to these officers and these law enforcement officials that lost their lives today. And this is a good example of what we try to tell people every single day, that when we put on this uniform, that we don't have any guarantees that we'll return home. But yet we have a lot of great men and women across this entire country that do it every single day to make sure that you're safe in your communities. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Vi Lyles, so she'll want to say a few words.
I'm just going to put this mic down.
You never know what your day is going to be like. You can't plan things like this to be in this space, this time. We've lost 3 people. They lost their lives after they gave us the opportunity to be a safe place, and they lost their lives. These are people that care deeply about what they've done for a profession, and now today we have to say to them how much we are grateful for what they've done. We care much about what happened. until their investigation is done. I know this about our community. Our community stands up for people. They stand up for all people that work for us, that make it possible. All of our officers. If you had a little bit of problem driving around today, I don't think anybody was too worried about that, because we know that there is a reason for this, and there's a reason that everything happens, and sometimes we don't understand it. At this point, I know that this community will seek understanding. I know that our police department will seek understanding. I want to say this, we're very, very much grateful. Today I heard from the White House about the loss of our officers and the situation that we were having to adjust to. I've heard from Congressman as well as Congressman Jeff Jackson. On the way over here, the Speaker of the House, Tim Moore, the President of our State Senate, they all talked about what can they do to help us. Now, we may know what help we need right now today, but we do know that when people reach out to say this is something that is important that's happened, and they want to be a part of it, there will be a time we will commemorate these people that would lost their lives. You think about it. Your father, your husband, your friend, your neighbor, all of them were one person like that, and they're not going home. Another people lost their lives today. And the most that I can ask our community is that we honor and respect them for all the work that they've done, all that we will do to make it possible for our city to stay. Every one of us wants to be in a situation where they get up this morning to come back home, and someone didn't today. Keep your prayers, keep your faith. Make sure that these officers who have families have people to reach out and help up, because they will need this. And we are to make it possible for them to be able to live and know we honor and respect the loss they have. Thank you very much for this time.
Thank you. I want to take just a moment to clarify. There's a total of 4 CP officers who were by gunfire today, and 4 task force officers. That's a total of 8 law enforcement officers who were by gunfire today. I want to take a minute to recognize the people standing behind us here today. The first responder community, government organizations that stay behind. This is a community within the community, and it's incredible the bond we have, and it's demonstrated no other way like it is in moments of crisis and a moment of tragedy like what current. So, recognize the people with me today. We have the Fire Department, Medic, Department of Homeland Security, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Department of Alcohol and Firearms, U.S. Marshals, Mecklenburg Attorney's Office, North Carolina Patrol. I hope I didn't leave anybody off the list. On behalf of want to keep you here, and on behalf of all the men and women that they represent who in the call, especially in tragedy situations, I want to thank them. Any questions that you have, Chief Jennings and I are available. Yes. Well, it changed the response. The question is, how does it change the response when you're going to a residence where someone has a history of having a weapon? And let me just be clear, the U.S. Marshals Service, the Fugitive Task Force is comprised of surrounding agencies. So there are multiple agencies involved with the Fugitive Task Force with Marshals Service. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department is a member of the U.S. Marshals Task Force as well. So anytime you are dealing with someone who is a convicted felon and who has been caught previously with firearms, it does get concerns and raise awareness when you are responding. So when you do that, part of the reason the task force is such an imperative part of what we do every single day is because they have extensive training and they train together to deal with these kind of situations. It's always going to be something that's on the forefront of their thought process, and you're going after most dangerous people. And unfortunately, today was something tragic. We never want to see. I want to stand in front of you today to talk about an incident such something this tragic. It's really heartbreaking. Yes. I'm not ready to tell you all of the agencies. What I can confirm is that 4 CPD officers, 1 CMP officer is in very critical condition at this point. We do have to make sure family members and all are notified, so I'm not going to release which agencies they were with the force. So the question is the number of shooters. We believe there are 2 shooters involved. Again, we have 2 people of interest at the police station that are questioned right now, and we have the individual that was set up that we started warrant on was the individual who fired the initial shots and was deceased front yard at the end of all this. So. The other officers, besides the officer that's in critical condition, the officers are stable. The degree of varying anywhere from a graze wound to a wound that requires a little more attention, but they're stable and expected to be okay.
And can you say if any of your officers who were shot in this, were they responding patrol officers, they SWAT officers?
Yes, I can't confirm it. We do have a sergeant who is assigned to the task force on the scene. That officer immediately called for help. The 3 officers or 4 officers that were shot are officers who were responding to the scene. I'll tell you. Yes, sir. Yes. That's still early to tell. Right now, we're still in the investigation, and I can tell you there's a high-powered rifle involved on the suspect. Yes, sir.
The prayers are
you for that question. So, the of our officers that respond to knowing that going into gunfire is what I've been saying for many years. Is in surrender, our people step up, and this profession steps up, and that's what you find is doing. Because we knew what they were rolling and still held their own and attempt to apprehend the suspect. They knew that they needed help. They'd be extracted from that location. Yet, and then some get shot themselves as a result. So, the bravery, the heroism, everything that goes down that defines whoever that shit, our people demonstrated today, and I couldn't be more proud of the response. I couldn't be more proud of the partnership that we have at every single level of law enforcement, every single level of public safety. Can't say enough about the phone calls, text messages, the support, and the mayor say they love it is what you need. How come? And it just in times like this, that's exactly what we need in these situations. So the question is how many agencies are with the Fugitive Task Force just responded. So the Fugitive Task Force, I don't have exact numbers. I remember on the Fugitive Task Force, as mainly the surrounding agencies within our surrounding cities and towns are members of that, and we can give you those numbers exactly who's involved. Yeah. So officers who responded to help out, also agencies were also with me. The state agencies of Burke County's office was as well. We had agencies of Pineville, the different towns of county. They sent officers in to answer our questions because we obviously can imagine the manpower that it was to secure that scene and do the task force. So they were very helpful to ensure that we did not let our citizens down in responding to those calls for service, and they were very helpful. So. The children have to win when I did that happen. Yes. Not right now. The type of ammunition is still part of the investigation. All of that will have to be looked at as far as when we get into the house. So recover any projectiles that have been aimed to the officers. So there's a lot that we still have to uncover. So the question is whether this is an appropriate time to do a warrant. I will tell you. I will say we're talking about a felon who has propensity to carry a firearm. There isn't a great time to do it. Whether it's in the middle of the night or in the middle of the day. The interest in the Fugitive Task Force was to ensure that this person brought to justice and taken off the streets. And unfortunately, he decided that he was going to respond to that by fire officers. I do not have the history of this resident, the history of the individual. All of that will be very soon. We're going to try to get that information out. We do have a lot of family notifications we have faith in order to provide more information to each and every one of this individual. So. Yeah, so the question is right now shelter in place. Is the area okay to go back to normal duties? We're going to be in this process of running for several hours. But as far as lockdowns and closure of roads and all that, we opened that back up. The house has been secured by officers and cleared. And now it's a tedious of ensuring that we collect evidence and processing. Yes. Yes. Yeah, so the question is about two other individuals who came out of the house here. I can't confirm right now whether which one, if there are suspects in the shots fired. What I can tell you is that we had the house secured, and it was the perimeter, and we continued to gunfire from inside the residence. After we cleared, there were only two individuals who came out, one 17-year-old juvenile and another female who was taken out as well. So one suspect is deceased. I cannot. I've been with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department for 2 years. I can remember an incident where 3 law enforcement officers were, and also 3 that were killed in the same incident, as well as 1 in critical condition and additional that were shot and injured. So it's the most tragic one that I've been involved in. I don't know historically. I can imagine the one that's worse than what we're seeing today. Well, other questions that need to be answered, we know what those questions are right now. We have an understanding of why this occurred, and also to uphold the integrity of the investigation. We want to make sure that we check all the boxes that we need so we can get a full prosecution case if we must handle that. We know some answers, but we still have many that we have clear up and many that we continue to work on, and we can really lock down what happened, who is involved, and go on from there. I did. I spoke with the governor earlier today. He basically asked me what do I need. He's here to support. So appreciative of the phone call to him, and I know he would be here right now. He's on his way to come speak with, but I had to speak with him.
Families and unity. I am a East Charlotte resident, 1979. Appreciate what the police officers do in the community. Speaking on behalf of the Charlotte community, I'm grateful that the interest of the police presence in our area in East Charlotte.
Yeah, thank you for that. At this point, I'm concerned mainly with the take care of the officer, taking care of their families, and all that comes to play later on how we respond to the community. But want to make sure the community knows that we're going to continue to keep them safe. We have brave men and women out there that want to continue working in neighborhood and continue to work in the best interest of our community and our citizens. Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, all of the others VPD were injured, responding to the scene office. The one sergeant that we have assigned to the task force has not injured. Yes. I don't know how many folks were there serving warrant, so I don't have that. That's from U.S. Marshal. They had their contingency, their task force doing this warrant. Well, I'll be honest with you, whatever gap there is, this level should never take place. I mean, you can have full aid, probably can have, that should never result in taking a life, unless taking multiple lives. So the Charlotte Police Department and every agency you see behind me has priority to continue to make sure that we have the community relationships that we possibly can. But a lot of that also means that we have to make everything. So we're going to continue, like I said, we're going to continue to keep you safe. So thank you. I'll ask the answer for now. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. We do need your support. We need your prayers, our officers and the other officers involved, and for the families, and for impacting our community in every way. So stay tuned to see our social media channels and press this. We'll keep you up on all the information that we have. Thank you.
Yep.